Hey everyone, Josh here. Today I've got Bobby Powers in Fort Worth, Texas. Been through our program. He's had incredible results. Just a great story. You got to stay listening to the end because it's an incredible transformation here. But Bobby, before we start, go ahead and tell everyone a little bit about your background.
Okay. Thanks, Josh. My name is Bobby. I'm from Fort Worth, Texas, born and raised. As far as my background goes, I started off in restaurant sales, fast food restaurants like most teenagers. From there, I moved into waiting tables for about 8 years. And after that, I went into construction and became a commercial electrician.
Okay, so very background, a little bit of sales, and then now electrician work. What caused the change in looking into more sales and specifically getting into tech sales?
As far as getting into sales, what changed is that I was actually rear-ended in a pretty bad car accident, and it made it to where I later found out that I just couldn't return to construction. And then going into sales and tech sales, I actually just happened to come across pre-hired and tech sales by accident. I was looking on Craigslist for something I could do, work from home for a little bit, or just some kind of gig and make a little bit of extra money. Yep. And really how it came about it is it was in December, about a month after my car wreck, and I wasn't working. My wife and I had 6 kids, and Christmas was coming up, so I was getting stressed. And while looking through Craigslist, I saw the ad for pre-hired, and I looked into it. And prior to looking into that, it never dawned on me that software sales was really a thing. Never really thought about it. So I looked at the program. I looked at the industry. I even went to BLS.gov to look at the annual salaries and job projections and everything. And once I kind of went through that and kind of looked into it a little bit more, that's when I realized that, hey, this is something that's going to be a great fit, something that has a lot of potential. So I scheduled the call with Andrew for the admissions call. We talked it over and started the program.
All right, so you decided to give it a chance. But when you first found pre-hired, what was it that pushed you into doing it? I mean, did you have any doubts? Were you nervous about it? Did you have a lot of high hopes? I mean, when was the point you knew I got to do this because I don't want the alternative?
Let's see. The doubts I would have is I've had a little bit of a sales experience before. I've done a couple of multi-level marketing opportunities that didn't pan out, sold cars for a little bit. And I didn't really have the skill set I needed to do sales. So that was one of my big concerns. And the other one was the thing that caught my eye really was the title on the post. It was, earn a 6-figure sales salary in software sales. And when I saw it, I'm not going to lie, to be completely honest, I was like, that's BS, but I'm going to look at it anyways. I looked at it because I found it kind of funny. I was like, I want to see what they say, just for giggles. So I looked into it and then did my research, and I was like, okay, that is, it's real. And what really got me into the tech part of it, the tech part of sales, is, I was an electrician, so I fully understand today modern society's need for electricity, technology, and software. It's not going away. And that was one of the reasons I became a commercial electrician is people need electricity, so there's job security. People need software. It's not going away, so there's jobs there. And as far as the sales aspect of it, that gives me the ability to control my income, to an extent. So I have more control over how much I earn. If I want to make more, I'll just put in a little bit more work.
That's good, man. And so you did the research, you realized that this is actually a thing, because some people don't realize that software sales, working in the SaaS sector, actually there is this a lot of money that goes into it. And so the salespeople that work at these companies get paid a lot. There's a lot of profit margins because it's a digital product. Like it's not a physical thing that had to be created. It did have to be coded at one point and it has to be updated, but there's just normally more money in these products. So the salespeople get paid a lot more, and you have to be better to get these jobs. And I love that you recognize, this is the one thing that some people have trouble with, is recognizing that I know my limits. I know where I'm strong at. I know where I'm weak at. And if I can get some help, I know I can do this. I mean, I love it when we find people like that. And then what's a shame though, as a side note, Bobby, is sometimes we get people that find us and we'll talk to them and they'll say something like, you know what, like, yeah, this program probably could help me, but I think I could do it on my own. And you know what's interesting is some people that say that cannot. And if I ever am on the call, I'll say, you're not, like, you will shock me if you do. And I hope you're right, but you're probably wrong. But some people I've told, you're probably right. I've actually said, you know what? I think about it based on the assessment, like in the admissions interview, you probably could do this on your own. And that's a shame. Because I say, what's going to happen is you're going to do just enough to get hired, but you're in the bottom of the pack or the middle of the pack, or worse, you don't make your probationary 9-day period and you get canned, and then you're starting back from square one, when if you would have just let us help you, you wouldn't come in on the bottom part. You'd come in as the A player, the one that, and also you're not settling for just any job. You're literally taking your pick and negotiating for a much higher pay right off the bat. So you're basically, yeah, you could get in, but you're now on the slower path than all of our other members who couldn't do it on their own. Like, so that's the thing that just blows me away, that I just had this conversation actually yesterday with someone. And they actually, I'm going to talk to them probably again later today to see what they want to do. But it's just interesting that I said your story reminded me of that. Now, but you realize for you, your limits, you realize this can help, so you took the leap, you decided to do it. What was it like going through the program?
Amazing. But before I go into that question, you just reminded me of something. Honestly, I think the kind of catalyst that put me over the fence was I was really on the edge about it. Man, it sounds like a great program, and everything lines up. But, can I really do it? And I think it's in one of the introductory videos or like one of the advertisement videos, you were talking about your background and your experience. And you said something about, are there people more qualified to teach you or, better at this than I am? And you're like, yeah, absolutely. But let me ask you this. Am I at least qualified enough to get you in the door? And I'm like, you know what? He's right. I was like, so yeah. And honestly, that comment, that statement is pretty much what put me over the edge. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. Going through the program, man, by the third video, I knew that I had made the right choice. Because they always say that, art or selling is an art or, something like that, or, people have innate abilities. And yeah, that's true. There is an art to selling. And there's an art to a lot of things, but behind everything, there is a scientific method that, it just helps. And that's really what Pre-Hired gave me. I kind of had that art that I have the gift of gab. I can talk to people. I can, build rapport very easily. But it was the scientific side, the real nitty gritty and the techniques that I was missing. And you're going to hate this, but the people that I had worked with before in sales, and I'd tell them like, hey man, I don't know why I'm not getting appointments, why I'm not selling, why I'm not getting, closes and deals and everything. And they'd always look at me and be like, always be selling, always be closing. You need to talk to more people. I'm like, okay, you clearly don't know what you're doing because you can't tell me how to improve. And honestly, that killed sales for me. That I was like, well, you know what? I love building stuff. I'm going into construction.
Yeah, you know what, Bobby? You just reminded me of a time when I had a really bad sales manager, and I'm actually making a video of this in a couple of weeks. But I've got the notes. I just literally wrote down the notes to it the other day because I think everyone can relate to that bad sales manager. So I'm not going to, of course, ever call that person out or let anyone know who that would be because we're all at some point. A good sales manager had to probably be a bad sales manager at some point. So when we're always learning. So, but anyways, the thing is, I went to him and said, hey, I'm doing what you're telling me to do. I'm following your instructions, but I'm not getting results. Why is that? Help me get better. And his response was, you need to get on the phones more. You need to call people more. You need to email more. You need to work harder. You need to always be closing, always be closing. And I was like, well, you're basically just telling me to do more of the same stuff that's not working. That's the definition of insanity. That's the clinical definition of insanity.
Yes, that's what I was about to say.
So I got so frustrated. And I remember that moment made me realize, do I even want to do sales anymore? Because my manager, like, I felt sucked. He didn't know what he was talking about. And that's when I realized, like, there's got to be something beyond this. And there's got to be some reason why we're not getting results. And it's not just me, other people in the company too. And long story short, that manager in the company itself did not last. Like they were gone, like within 4 months actually of that conversation, the company was out of business. And it's interesting. So the thing is, yeah, if someone's ever just like, you need to always be closing, or you always need to just do more of the same, they don't know what they're doing. You need to leave that sales manager, and you need to go find someone that can look at the science of selling and actually pinpoint, all right, let's look at inputs, let's look at outputs, let's look at like every element. Because for everyone listening to this is free training right here. I've got a saying that I know Bobby probably remembers from the training videos. I say it a couple times. Whatever gets measured gets mastered. Everything else is mediocre. So everything that's measured gets mastered. Everything else is mediocre. So if you want to get really good at sales, that is the one tip you can take anywhere, is if you measure every little possible thing, then you can master every little possible thing you found. But everything else you've overlooked that you're not measuring can be overlooked, and it's mediocre at best if it's not completely crap. So that is how, science-based sales, that's how pre-hired works. So you joined, you did it. By video 3, it was the best decision you've ever made. Now, obviously the knowledge, it's probably like, wow, blowing you away with all the science of it. Because like you said, you had the gift of gab. You have the gift of gab. You're great to connect with, great on camera as people can see, but you're missing some stuff. So what was it like though, going through the material, like after going through the materials and then actually using this to get though a high paying job that we're talking about in the program? Like, tell everyone a little bit about that.
Okay. Well, the going through the program, like I said, by video 3, I was blown away. And the more I got into the program, I went through the entire program really in 6 days. I blew through it because I couldn't get enough of it. Almost every night I was up until 4 o'clock watching the videos, going through it. And then I was back up at like 7:30 hitting it again.
I think you might have a record for us, man. In 6 days, that's pretty quick. Actually, no, I think there's one person who's done it in 4. So you got second place.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, I just couldn't get enough of it. And the reason why is because, like I said, it was the science part of it. So, I'd always heard, always be closing, you need to connect, you need to build rapport. And then going through the program showed me how to do that. And so the whole time going through the program, I'm like, okay, I can do this. I'm going to do this. So I did the program. I started my outreach, and I applied the techniques and the skills that were taught in the program, and immediately saw that they were working. And I was getting the great sales metrics, because we were measuring our metrics. And so I was getting great figures returned for that. And it really kind of concreted everything in my mind. And I did.
Now, in the beginning, though, like you mentioned to me earlier, you had some issues, though. Actually, when you first started your sales funnel to get these jobs and these offers and interviews, you were running into some trouble. So tell everyone a little bit about that, and then what made the difference for you.
Yeah. At the beginning, I was still having good numbers. I was having, good people read my email and they would respond. And there were a couple jobs where I got a first interview, but then it kind of came to where they were like, oh, well, we're looking for somebody else, or it's not quite a fit. And so I kind of got a little discouraged. And then, my kids and myself got sick. We were sick for about 3 weeks. And then Andrew reached out to me and he's like, hey man, what's going on? And he's like, let's get back on it and let's get you hired in 30 days. I was like, you know what? You're right. I went through the program. I put in the effort. Let's get back on it. Let's get started. And I was kind of skeptical. I was like, I don't know about 30 days. That was 2 weeks ago, by the way. That was 2 weeks ago. And one of the big things is, we talk about personalized, that first email, don't be a robot, kind of connect, build that rapport. What I was doing was kind of personalizing it towards the company. And I kind of mentioned that to Andrew, and he was like, well, try personalizing it that you're reaching out to, the person that you're emailing. And I did that, and I had good results to begin with, and then the results became phenomenal. And like I said, 2 weeks later, I got an amazing job offer that I never thought I would have got. And
what was that? Well, go ahead, tell us what was the offer. What was it like? What's the job? What are you doing? And how much? Because that's what's on everyone's mind.
This is what everybody wants to know. And I'll tell you right now, in my last job, if I even made it that far, it would have taken me at least 10 to 12 years to get to this. So I was making about $38,000 in that job. This job offer is for a company that we reach out to other startup companies and help them secure outside funding or even invest in their company, help them build business models and marketing strategies. And when the founders of these startups are ready to sell, we even help them execute their exit strategies. So we help other startups grow, build, and sell their business. It's an awesome company. And I almost didn't even apply to this company because I saw the amount that they were paying. I'm like, dude, there's no way. And so I went ahead and applied anyways, just so I had, so many applications in that week to kind of increase my chances. And sure enough, the guy reached out, we talked, and we were talking, and he was talking a lot about financing, small business loans, IPOs, ICOs, and I'm, what? Then we got to talking about the sales aspect of it and everything. And he's like, man, and there was actually a couple companies that I interviewed with because I had 3 job offers. And they were just all like, okay, well, even if you don't know about our product, you clearly know what you're talking about. You have excellent training, and you just know what you're going to do. So let's do this. So the job offer ended up being it's a base plus commission, and the base pay is $52,000 a year, which is almost already twice what I was making. And the on-target projected earnings for the first year are $100,000 to $140,000. I can earn up to $8,000 in commission on top of my base pay each month. So I could potentially earn $12,000 a month. It's just insane. And for everybody that wants to know, should you do this? Absolutely. Like I said, $100,000 to $140,000 a year. And if you look at what the program cost me, that's a 2,000% return on investment this year alone. And, going forward, this is going to be my new career. And the greatest part about it is I get to work from home. So I don't have to worry about commuting. I don't have to worry about traffic. That's more time that I can either spend earning more money in commissions or I can spend with my kids. So it was an awesome, awesome opportunity.
Guys, there you have it. We got Bobby from Fort Worth, went from making $38,000 in his previous job. He's going to be making $100,000 to $140,000 his first year in a brand new career. And like he said, this job is remote. He's working from home. He's working from the t-shirt he got from his pre-hired t-shirt or his pajamas, whatever he wants to wear. He's working in because he's working from home. And like he said, like you're not in that commute in Fort Worth area, like having to drive back and forth. So that time can be spent making more calls or getting more demos set up or meetings set up, making more money, or it can just be spent with the kids or playing video games or whatever you want to do to relax. So any last words you want to leave, though, for Bobby, for anyone else that's seen your story, they've listened to you, and maybe they've listened to some other videos we've got on our website or elsewhere, and they're just kind of like, I think I know I want to change. I can't stand like where I'm at in my career, but they just haven't got off the fence yet. What would you say to people like that? What advice do you have for them?
Do it. You have absolutely nothing to lose. You can look at all the testimonials that Josh has put on, and everybody that's gone through the program is going to tell you the same thing. My name's Bobby Powers. Reach out to me on LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever it is. You got to do it. You owe it to yourself to try. And like I said, I mean, 3 times what I made last year, I'll make this year. Isn't it worth it? I mean, that's all I got to say.
Bobby, I think that's enough, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, dude, and excited to follow up with you in a few months too to see if we can even help you just brainstorm also on your new sales job and any way we can support you there.
Sounds good.